African parents, I think it is high time we changed our ways of raising children. Yes, it is Africa, but it is not a zoo. You don't have to always beat up your children or dismiss their feelings in the name of disciplining them or giving them the African upbringing.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. So I came across this video on TikTok about African people talking mostly about toxic African parents, and it's true that some African parents are toxic, and I think it's about time things change in the way kids are being raised in African homes, because a lot of people are calling out their parents for the way they were raised, and up to now a lot of people are still carrying the trauma from their childhood. Most adults raised in an African household are broken adults, and this is so heartbreaking. But let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below, and let's hear what people have got to say about being raised in African household. And I'll come back to share my thoughts at the end of this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this particular one, and let's see what people have got to say concerning being raised in African homes.
Because most of this African upbringing can be categorized as abuse. I am not saying that all African parents are abusive, but this is something I think is deeply entrenched in the culture, and it is highly normalized within the African culture, and it needs to change. Because the thing is, childhood trauma is real, and it could mess up with an adult's life without them understanding what the heck or what the problem is going on with them. And childhood trauma could show up in multiple ways in your adult life, like low self-esteem, for example. People could be sharing their opinion in the office, and you'll be sitting there quiet because you feel like if you say the wrong thing, people are going to scold you or they are going to shout at you, because that's what your parents used to do to you. And also, when you're in a relationship, for example, you may tend to dismiss your feelings and your boundaries because you may be afraid that your partner would shout at you or scold you if you say how you truly feel. Again, this is because you probably grew up in a home where your parents never listened to you, or they always dismissed your feelings. Also, so many young men and women today have daddy issues because their father was never loving towards them as children, always shouting, always disciplining and scolding them. So they grow up with daddy issues. So if you're an African parent watching this, please be patient with your children. Don't transfer aggression to them. There might be other things going on in your own life as well. As a parent, you could be dealing with your own childhood trauma, but avoid taking it out on your children. Treat kids as kids. Listen to them when they are trying to say something to you. As a parent, you don't always have to be correct. I think that this superiority mentality many African parents have does not allow them to listen to their children or even learn from them. Some parents will beat you for not sitting in one place as a child, but they forget that kids are not adults that can comport themselves. Kids play a lot, they have a lot of energy, they like to run around, they like to experiment and explore. Don't destroy your child's curiosity and all of that when they are growing up. Learn to be patient with your kids and try to communicate with them instead of using your slippers or your cane. Some parents will be like, Miss Martin, break your head. Calm down, Undertaker. Calm down, Daddy. If you know that you do not have the tolerance and the patience to raise children, then don't have them. Period.
A lot of people might hate me for the direction that my page is about to go in, but let me just give a disclaimer. A lot of Africans have really great self-esteem, like really great self-esteem. On the outside, they look well put together. But on the inside, they appear to look well, you know, a doctor, lawyer, but on the inside, a lot of them are choking. They are choking, and it's insane. And it just sucks because a lot of it is at the hands of the toxic parenting that we received while growing up. Yep, I said it, toxic parenting. It's like the things that I see a lot of African women and men put up with is insane. Like the beatings, the verbal abuse, the overprotection, Like, all that stuff has long-term psychological impacts on you. It affects your attachment style. It affects how much anxiety you deal with every day. It affects whether you speak up in a meeting or not. Like, it affects, like, what you tolerate, you know, abuse. Like, I mean, I've seen so many people, like, tolerate abuse in relationships because they were beaten as a child. You know, like, it's so heartbreaking to me, and I feel like this is my purpose. This is my life calling. I'm going to expose this, and I'm going to help those who really feel like they're in bondage because of this. So at some point, we have to take a look at the past and understand it and figure out how it's contributing to our own suffering and our inability to know ourselves and know who we are outside of our parents and their expectations. A lot of us can't set boundaries because we don't know who we are, because all of our lives we've been something that we were supposed to be. And my fear is that if we do not change this narrative, we risk raising our own children the way our parents raised us.
So I was contemplating on whether I should post this or not, because I'm not the type to put out my business on the internet, but I'm gonna tell y'all anyways, because I don't have friends to vent to. So I'm gonna tell y'all gonna be my business today. I'm gonna tell y'all all my problems. So I just got off the phone with my dad. I barely know this man. He raised me up until I was 8 years old. And it's not like he was in my life the whole entire time up until I was 8. It was like on and off. Sometimes I'd go live with my mom, sometimes I'd go live with him. So I'm gonna tell y'all the basics. I live in a whole different state from my mom. I live 5 hours away from her, and my dad stays in Africa, and I'm in America. I'm 22 now, and I told my mom prior to me giving birth that I was pregnant, and during giving birth I told her that, hey mom, I'm in labor, and I sent her pictures of when my son was born, and up until then we haven't spoke. So a few months ago, my mom and my sister went to a wedding in Iowa, and Iowa is an hour away from where I live, and I felt some type of way because y'all can go to a whole stranger's wedding, but y'all can't come see me when I just gave birth. Like, be fucking for real. But I ignored that. Like, it's whatever. I called her like a month or two ago, like, just to check up on her, just like, you know, I miss you, like, I want to talk to my mother, and she didn't pick up. So today my sister texted me saying dad wants you to call him, and I'm like, finally one of my parents wants to talk to me. And I was already thinking about him a few days ago anyways, so I called him. So he said hi, and I said hi, and he said, how am I doing? And I said, I'm good. And then he proceeded to ask me for money. Typical, he always does. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like every single time you call me, you don't call me to genuinely see how I'm doing, and that's why I don't talk to you. You call me to ask me for stuff, and that's the problem. Like, you don't call me because you love me and you miss me and you want to see how your daughter is doing. You calling me to ask me to provide for you. So long story short, he laid that out for me. He said he called me because, one, he needs me to send him money because he needs his hospital bills paid and he needs money for his medicine. 2, to take my son to my mother's house with a gift or money and go beg her for forgiveness for having a kid out of wedlock. And 3, this one made me chuckle a little bit. He said to start paying his bills every single month. You want me to pay for your bills and pay for my bills and take care of my son at the same time? Like, and his reasons for all these things, he said that he used to take care of me when I was young. He provided everything for me when I was young. So now I got to take care of him. Like, baby, you 50 years old. I'm your son. I'm your daughter. Like, you were supposed to feed me when I was young. You were supposed to take care of any necessities for me when I was young. Like, and I don't have to pay y'all back. What type of parents are y'all for asking me to pay y'all back just because y'all took care of me when I was young? Like, make it make sense. And I'm a stay-at-home mother, so it's like, where am I gonna get this money to pay this man? Where am I gonna get this money to help this guy with his hospital bills? Because what if he dies, and I'll feel guilty for that. Like, I'll feel bad. Like, if I would have paid for his medicine, he wouldn't have died. So I'm like really sad, and I'm like feeling this guilt that I'm not even supposed to be feeling. Like, they say it takes a village to raise a kid, but I don't have a village because I don't trust nobody with my son. I don't trust not a soul to look out after my son. That's why I'm a stay-at-home mother, because I don't trust no babysitting places. I don't trust the people around me with my baby. Like, no.
So basically, I don't have a family. My mother doesn't talk to me. My dad is commending me to give him money because he thinks I'm supposed to pay him back for him raising me, basically. And on top of that, I have my 40 to 30-year-old uncles asking me for money. My cousins are asking me for money. Like, everybody's asking me to provide for them. And I'm in Section 8, baby. We both broke. Let's just end it there. We're both broke. Period. I have a great relationship with my sister. She's cool. She's supportive. She's been trying to come see her nephew for the longest, but her parents are stopping her from coming here until I go beg them for forgiveness, until we're cool again. So that's that. And I know I'm gonna be okay because I have this little thing in my head where I just switch everything off and then I forget. I'll forget about this and I'm gonna be cool. I was crying earlier, but look at me now. I don't give a fuck.
I need all the people that grew up in an African household to come in and join in for this conversation because I feel like we need to talk, besties. Do y'all genuinely think it is disrespectful for you to fight back? Do you guys think it's disrespectful for you to have a voice and express to your parents how they've hurt you or how they've made you feel? And do you think it is okay for you not to apologize when you're in the right? Because one thing that I have been dealing with recently is feeling the guilt of being an African child and not behaving as one. What I mean by that is usually what is expected from you as an African child is for you to never fight back, for you to always apologize regardless of who's in the right and who's in the wrong, for you to be the bigger person, and for you to work on having a better relationship with your parents and your parents not doing jack shit to make that process easier for the both of you. Now, a little bit of background on me. My childhood was never easy. It has never been easy. I grew up in a household where I was being abused, and I'm going to name it for what it is because I've been discredited a lot. And that comes from the people who are actually responsible for those things. They have always said that that's not abuse and it's just discipline. But no, the marks that I have on my body constitutes as abuse. It does not constitute as discipline. I do not believe that is a way of disciplining a child. I don't believe that hitting your child with a broom, bottles, knives, wet towels and being hit with that is discipline, because there is an intent there and there is that element of genuinely being evil, because you know a knife can kill. You know that soaking a towel in water and hitting someone is going to cause a lot of damage. So why would you now go and do that knowing that that's your kid? Granted, she wasn't my mother, so whatever, you know what I mean? But I still feel like that is not acceptable. And now the parent that was supposed to be there to protect and love and take care and do that was at work, so they didn't really see all that happening. So to them, if they didn't see it, it equals as it didn't happen. You know what I mean? And for African parents, they will usually believe the older person rather than believing the kid. So to me, I've always just been discredited and just being called a liar and someone that didn't know how to take whatever, the discipline, and I'm now phrasing it as abuse. But no, if I show you the marks on my body, it is abuse. So with that little bit of background, let me now explain why I act the way I do as an adult. As an adult, I don't care if you're an elder. I don't care if you're an African person. I don't care. If you disrespect me, I will speak up for myself and I will defend myself. And I feel like the burning and dying desire of me wanting to defend myself so bad is because I had no one to defend me when I was younger. When I was a kid, I had no one to stand up for me and say, this is wrong, this is abuse, the way you're mistreating this child is not okay. So not having that voice for me, I felt lonely as a kid. You know what I mean? I felt like no one was there for me. I genuinely did not feel loved as a kid. So as an adult, I feel like it is my responsibility to speak up for myself. And obviously, African parents deem that as you being disrespectful, as you being hard-headed, as you not wanting to listen. But to me, it's not that. If you say genuine disrespectful things to me, it's not that I'm going to come back and disrespect you, but I will let you know that you are a disrespectful person. And an African person hearing that they're disrespectful, to them, that's disrespectful. And I just want to know, how are we supposed to live as adults with other adults that don't know how to behave as adults? Adults that don't know how to have a conversation. They would rather scream, yell, cuss you out because they still see you as that little kid that they can talk to in any way, shape, or form. To me, that doesn't fly. how are we supposed to engage in conversations? How are we supposed to trust our parents with things that are going on in our lives that we should be trusting our parents with if they've broken that trust from a very, very, very young age? How do you move forward in that relationship? Is there any point in trying to salvage that relationship when the other party doesn't want to make the necessary changes in order for the relationship to be healthy, in order for the relationship to be productive for both people? Because I feel like what they have in their minds is, you need to do things that are going to make our relationship easy for me, but I don't have to put in any work. Because my question is always, why is so much being expected from people that are so-called children? Because y'all still see us as children, right? So if we're still children, why are we expected to be the ones to fix the relationship? So why are we supposed to be the ones to apologize when you laid a curse upon your child? You were the one that disrespected your child. They love to bring up the Bible verse that says, children, honor and respect your parents or whatever, so that your days on earth may be, you guys know the passage I'm talking about. But the verse right beside it, right under it, says, parents, do not provoke your children to anger. Yet parents are constantly provoking their children to anger. When their children finally have a reaction, all of a sudden that child is disrespectful, that child is this, that child is that. Like, why do we pick and choose when to be good parents? Why do we pick and choose when to actually have a conversation? Why is it that y'all put so much emphasis on the children being the ones doing all the hard work when y'all are just sitting there washing your hands and expecting them to be the bigger people? My prayer for us as the new African parents is that we do not make the same mistakes that our parents made. And one thing they always tell you is your children are going to do worse than you're doing to us, without them realizing that maybe your child is acting out because of how you treat your child. Maybe your child is acting out because they don't feel safe to come to you first and say, I am struggling with this, I am struggling with that. So now they have to go outside and look for other things to make them feel like, okay, I'm doing better because of this, or I'm feeling better because of that. Or they would rather trust outsiders than going to their parents and having a conversation about whatever battles they may be having in their lives. You guys never established that trust with your children from a young age, from the time you neglect them and allow other people to discipline your children. You know what I mean? That trust has been broken and it was never there. So instead of you as a parent to try and repair that trust, you just go out there and cast them as horrible people. African parents never want to take responsibility. They never want to take accountability because they use their trauma as a way to explain why they are the way they are. Well, my parents beat me up every day and I turned out fine. I am not you. You know what I mean? Your children are not you. If you still think that all the beatings you received as a child never affected you, you are dead wrong, because you walk around the house smacking pots, smacking pans, doing XYZ and putting your children in a bad mood and making them uncomfortable. You are always angry. You are always mad about something, and you think that has never affected you. Babe, you need to look in the mirror. For people who claim to be, so wise and have so much wisdom, they are the last people to look at themselves and realize that how they've been acting for years towards their children actually does impact them and actually does affect them and makes them feel less than. Therefore, there's no trust in there. There's no actual relationship. So no, your children are never going to confide in you. They're never going to speak to you about certain things. And they might actually put you in a home when you're older because you were a horrible parent to them. And you don't want to realize that, because that then makes you have to take accountability for what you've done and actually heal the traumas that your parents have put you through. My prayer is that we actually manage to heal our traumas, the ones that our parents are putting us through, and be able to become better parents, be able to have conversation with our children, be able to coach our children in the right direction without them feeling like we're imposing a certain rule upon them. Having a genuine relationship with somebody, because your children are not an extension of you. You were just a vessel to bring your children into this world, and that's what it is. Thank you.
You guys, that was such an interesting video. What are your thoughts? And as an African mom, I think it's our duty to make sure that we do not raise our kids the same way our mothers raised us, because nobody wants to end up with a broken kid. Nobody wants to end up with a kid that is carrying traumas and baggages around when they eventually become adults. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. Have you experienced any of this toxicity from your African parents, or your parents are totally good? Leave your thoughts, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.